Welcome back to Skating at Night and Lighting Up Skate Spots. In part one, we showed you the equipment that you need to get out there and film skating at night. In part two, we're going to show you how we put this equipment to use. So once you found your spot, first things first, start with the generator. You want to tuck it away somewhere, not so close to actually where you're going to be lighting it up. You don't want it to overpower the sound of the skating with the sound of the generator. I'd suggest hiding it behind your car, behind a wall. You can tuck it around the corner, down some stairs. Just get it a good distance away to where you can't really hear it. The sound from the generator is actually coming from the exhaust, so I'd suggest facing the exhaust away from where you're skating as well. Also remember, you don't want it to get too far out of your sight though, because generators are kind of expensive, and it has happened that people will actually steal these things from you when you're skating because you're focused on skating. Generators around the corner and someone can just lift it. All of a sudden the lights will turn off and your generator's gone. Having more lights isn't necessarily going to make the spot brighter. The reason being, the power's being spread out through a lot of lights, whereas if you take a light away and maybe just run 2 lights, that power is going to be condensed into those 2 lights, and it's actually going to make those lights light up a lot brighter than they were when you had a lot of lights because the power was spread out. There are a lot of skate filmers that actually use 2 generators at night. I actually just used my one. Tonight when we were setting up, I started with 3 lights to begin with, but the generator actually was kind of struggling with the 3 lights, so we switched it to just 2 lights. We just ran the Totas, one at the bottom, one at the top, and backed the RE off, where I originally had the RE set at the bottom. So you do need to consider the wattage of your lights and the power that your generator is going to be putting out, because you don't want to overpower it. You don't want to set up too many lights to the point that your generator is going to freak out. One tip is to make sure you got enough gas for your generator. I'd suggest just gassing it up at the gas station before you even head out to skate. A tank of gas helps as well, because nothing's worse than someone coming close to a trick and the generator cutting off, and then you have to rush to the gas station to gas the generator up. Every time you're setting up the lights a little bit different. Ultimately, the goal here is just to light the spot up. Make sure there's enough light on the spot that you can see what's going on and the skater can see what he's doing. A few things to consider are having the stands high enough that they're actually overlooking the spot. This is going to eliminate your shadow from being projected against the spot, whereas if they're low and they're right behind you, it's going to just push your shadow onto the rail or the step or whatever. So you want these things to be pretty high up in the air. Another thing to consider is keeping the lights far enough back though, that if you're in there filming fisheye, you don't want the light to actually be peeking into your shot. A lot of times you'll set up, you'll get in there and you'll look and everything's good, but actually once the person starts skating and you actually start moving the camera, you'll see that the light will peek in for a moment. So it might take a minute of adjusting and everything. I'd suggest set it up, throw some light on there to where you think it looks good. Then hop in there, play with it a bit, and adjust your lights until they're not in the shot. And also you want to make sure that they're set up in a way that they're not blinding the skater too. One of the coolest parts about filming at night is the fact that you actually have control over the light. You can bring the lights in really close and have them really focused on an area, which creates a really dramatic line from the light to dark where the skateboarder will disappear into the dark. Or you can bring it back and have the area just really lit up to where you see them roll away for a long time. So there's a lot more options with getting creative with your lighting when you have control over it. If the skater's actually wearing dark clothes, sometimes they disappear into the dark themselves. So maybe suggest a light colored t-shirt so that they actually show up a little bit better. For this spot here, you have this white wall, which is pretty awesome for lighting up because regardless of what color clothes these dudes are wearing, they're going to show up against this white wall. Derek's wearing a light colored shirt, Solomon's wearing a dark colored shirt. It doesn't matter for this spot, but just keep in mind that if you are skating a rail or a set of stairs or something and it's all just black sky in the background, dark colors are going to disappear into it. A few other not so technical tips to keep in mind is it's a good idea to bring along some extra bulbs for your lights. A lot of times you might knock a light over, a bulb could break, a bulb could just blow. So if you got some extras with you, that's definitely going to help. Also, when you're done and it's time to pack up, I'd suggest letting everything sit for a bit, cooling down. The generator is going to be pretty hot. You need to let it sit for a bit, and the lights especially, those things get really hot. Another thing to remember is the fact that the generator is full of gas. If you're going to be tossing it in your back seat or station wagon or something, you probably want to crack the windows so you're not breathing those gas fumes the whole way home. So skating at night, it's definitely a mission. You're going to be lugging around a lot more equipment than you do during the daytime. We've showed you some equipment options here, things from the more expensive side to the cheaper side. This is the setup I use every day. It's the setup I use while working on the Transworld video, and I've used the same setup now for years. I'm a fan of just keeping it pretty simple. I feel like keeping it simple while filming at night makes things a lot easier on you and on the dudes skateboarding. Hopefully some of this information helps you and you can apply it to your filming at night. Lighting up skate spots is one of my favorite parts of filming skateboarding. It just opens up a whole new...
Keep your balls cushioned.
So got the condom cargo.
Condom cargo.
Yeah.
Is that like the...